30 days ago, I was sitting at my kitchen table at 11:14 at night, staring at a credit card statement, and I realized something embarrassing for a man my age. I didn't know what I owned. 4 bank accounts, 3 credit cards, 2 brokerage accounts I had forgotten about, a savings bond my mother bought me in 1978, a stack of bills I was 80% sure I had paid but couldn't prove. My wife came in to tell me to come to bed, and I snapped at her over a credit card statement. That was the moment I decided, enough. So I gave myself 30 days. 7 rules, no new app, no fancy course, no financial advisor. Just 7 simple rules a regular man could follow with a notebook and a cup of coffee. And here is what happened. My blood pressure, the one my doctor had been on me about for 2 years, dropped 12 points. My wife stopped asking what was wrong. I stopped waking up at 3 in the morning thinking about money. For the first time since I was about 25, the tightness in my chest when I opened the mailbox just went away. I am Arthur, this is Common Sense Capital, and today I am going to walk you through every one of those 7 rules exactly the way I did them. Stick with me through Rule 3. That is the one I almost did not include because I was embarrassed by how much it changed things. Rule 1. 1 front door. On day 1, I did not even know how many accounts I had, so I made a coffee, grabbed a yellow pad, and wrote them down. 2 checking accounts at 2 different banks, 3 credit cards, a money market from a bank that had merged twice since I opened it, an old 401k from a job I left in 2009, an IRA I rolled over and forgot about, a brokerage my brother-in-law convinced me to open back in 1996 at 11 open doors. 11 statements, 11 passwords, 11 places where money could quietly disappear if I was not paying attention. And I am a careful man. I balance my checkbook. I read the news. But somehow over 30 years I had ended up with 11 little boxes, and on any given Tuesday I could not have told you exactly how much was in any of them. So the rule was simple. By end of day 3, I had to be down to 1 front door, 1 checking, 1 saving, 1 credit card, 1 brokerage, 1 retirement account. Anything that did not fit got closed or rolled into something I already had. Closing a checking account I had opened in 1984 felt strange, sentimental even. But the woman at the bank asked me one simple question. Have you used this account in the last 6 months? I had not. Just like that, gone. The old 401k got rolled into my IRA in 2 phone calls. The sleepy brokerage, I sold the 3 forgotten stocks, took the small tax hit, and folded it in. By the end of day 3, I had 4 logins instead of 11, 4 statements in my email the next morning. I read all of them in 7 minutes. For the first time in 30 years, I knew exactly what I had and where it lived, that one rule alone, and the tightness in my chest loosened. But the deeper problem was not where my money was sitting. It was how often I was spending it on things I could not remember buying. That is where Rule 2 came in, and Rule 2 almost broke me on day 3. Rule 2, the 72-hour rule. Anything over $100, I had to wait 3 nights before buying it. No exceptions. Not the impulse buy at the hardware store. not the kitchen mixer my wife was looking at, not the fishing reel I had been eyeing for 2 months, 3 nights. If I still wanted it, I could go buy it. If I had forgotten about it, and that is the trick, it never made the cut. Day 3, I went to the hardware store for a single light bulb. I came out with a cordless drill in my cart, a drill I did not need, a drill I already owned in 2 slightly different versions sitting in my garage. The rule said, put it back. So I put it back. Walking out of that store empty-handed was harder than it sounds. I felt like I was leaving something on the table. 72 hours later, I went back. The drill was still there, same shelf, same price. I stood there and looked at it. I did not want it anymore. The little voice that had said, "You will use this, you deserve this, this will feel good in your hand," that voice had evaporated. 3 days, and the spark was gone. I started keeping a small notebook in my back pocket. Anything over $100 went on a page with the date. By day 15, I had 11 items written down. Within 72 hours, I had lost interest in 9. 2 I went back and bought, and I use both to this day. The other 9 I had quietly become richer by their cost. This is the rule I was almost too embarrassed to include because it sounds too simple. Wait 3 days. Where is the trick? But people my age, we grew up with delayed gratification. We knew this in our bones. Somewhere along the way, with same-day shipping and one-click checkout, we forgot. The 72-hour rule is old wisdom we abandoned without noticing. So my house was in order and my impulses were under control. But there was still a slow leak in the boat, a leak that, when I finally found it, made my stomach turn. Rule 3. Cancel 1 subscription a week. 4 weeks. No exceptions. When this video is over, pull out your last credit card statement and go down it line by line. Every charge that comes back month after month without you signing for it again. Amazon Prime, Netflix, the magazine you started getting in 2017, anything that quietly repeats. I did this on a Saturday morning. I was prepared to find 5, maybe 6. I found 19 recurring charges going out of my checking account every month, and the part that turned my stomach, I did not recognize 4 of them. There was a charge for $14.99 from a company I had to look up online. Turned out it was a free trial I signed up for in 2022 to read 1 article about lawn care. 1 article. I had paid that company every month for 2.5 years. Almost $500 for 1 article I do not remember reading. So the rule was simple. Every Saturday morning, cancel 1 subscription, just 1. First Saturday, the lawn care site. I felt nothing but relief. Second Saturday, a streaming service my wife and I had not opened since the previous summer. $18 a month, gone. Third Saturday, the gym membership my doctor told me to get 4 years ago that I had used exactly twice, $49, gone. Fourth Saturday, a magazine I read maybe twice a year, done. By the end of 30 days, I had cut $214 a month out of my expenses, $2,568 a year. That is real money. That is a vacation. That is a new washing machine. That is half a year of my Medicare supplement premium. Just gone every month without me noticing until I forced myself to look. And I want to say something blunt to anyone 50, 60, 70. The companies who run these subscriptions are counting on the fact that you will not look. They are counting on you to be busy, to be polite, to not bother with the cancellation phone call. They are betting against your attention. The 30-day audit is how you bet against them just once and win. 3 rules in, my house was clean and my leaks were patched. But I still had not done the one thing that was the biggest cause of my stress. Rule 4, pay yourself the same day the money lands. For most of my life, I paid myself last. The mortgage came out, the utilities, the credit card, the car insurance, and whatever was left at the end of the month, I would think about saving. You know what was left? Almost never anything. Some months a little, some months nothing. Some months I took what was left and bought something I had been wanting because, hey, I earned it. That is not a savings plan. That is a leftover plan. And leftover plans do not build anything. Here is what I changed on day 8. The morning my Social Security hit my checking account, and for those of you still working, the morning your paycheck hits, I had an automatic transfer set up. A small one, nothing aggressive, a fixed amount that moved the same morning into a separate savings account I had agreed with myself I would not touch unless the house was actually on fire, not the 3rd of the month, not when I felt like it. Same morning the money landed. Automatic. I did not have to remember. I did not have to feel virtuous. The money moved before I even looked at the balance. And here is the thing about being 50 plus. At our age, peace of mind is worth more than every dollar of growth. I am not trying to outrun the market in my 60s. I am trying to know that if my furnace goes out in February, I have it covered. If my daughter's car breaks down, I can help her without dipping into the principal. If a hospital bill shows up that Medicare does not fully cover, I have a cushion underneath me, and I do not lie awake at 3 in the morning doing math. By the end of 30 days, I had moved more into savings than in the previous 6 months combined. This was not heroic discipline. I made no hard decisions after I set it up. I set it once and then I got out of my own way. And this is going to sound strange. As that account quietly grew, I checked my main checking less. I stopped staring at the balance. The cushion in savings was doing the emotional work I used to do with worry. But peace of mind costs more than money. Sometimes it costs hours, attention, and energy. Rule 5 was about getting those back. Rule 5, when in doubt, buy time, not things. Let me tell you what I did on day 12, Saturday afternoon in October blue sky, the kind of day you remember years later. I spent 4 hours mowing my own lawn. 4 hours. I came inside sweating, my back aching. My back had hurt every Sunday morning for 3 years from mowing on Saturday. I sat down to relax. My wife asked if I wanted to go for a walk. I said no, because my back hurt. That is the moment I understood something. I was 62. I had spent 4 hours and saved myself maybe $40 by mowing my own lawn instead of paying the kid down the block. The cost of those $40 was a Saturday afternoon walk with my wife in October in the prettiest weather of the year. The next week, I called the kid. He charges $35. I now have my Saturday afternoon back. My back does not hurt on Sunday, and I get a walk with my wife instead of a lawnmower. I want to be careful with this rule. I am not telling you to outsource your life. I am telling you to look at the things you grit your teeth through every week and ask yourself one honest question. How much does this actually cost me? Not in dollars, but in the rest of my life. I did this with 3 things: the lawn, the kid down the block, once a month deep cleaning of the house, a local woman who had been doing our neighbors for years, $80, 4 hours of my life back every month, and grocery shopping. My wife and I switched to ordering online and driving by to grab the bags instead of walking the aisles for an hour and a half. $0 saved on groceries, 3 hours saved a week, 52 weeks a year. That is 156 hours. 6.5 days of my life back every year for free. Buying back time is not fancy. It is not a status symbol. It is a quiet trade. A few dollars from the bottom of my budget for Sundays without back pain, Saturdays with my wife, and a Tuesday afternoon free to read a book on the porch. After 50, time is the asset. Money is the lever you use to get more of it. So now my house was simple, my impulses under control, my leaks patched, my savings automatic, and my afternoons mine again. But there was still one source of stress I had not tackled. It was not a big thing. It was 100 small things all day long. Rule 6. Eat the same breakfast for 30 days. I know how this one sounds. Stay with me. There is a thing called decision fatigue. The plain version is this: every decision you make, big or small, takes a little out of you. By the end of the day, you are tired, and the small decisions you made when you were not paying attention have piled up. $5 on a coffee, $8 on a snack you did not need, $15 on dinner because you could not think about cooking, $30 on an Amazon order because you were too tired to figure out what you wanted. Years ago, I read about a janitor in Vermont named Ronald Reed. He died with $8 million to his name. He drove a used car. He wore the same flannel shirt for 20 years. He ate the same breakfast every morning. He decided once and was free to think about other things. So on day 13, I made a small rule. Same breakfast for the rest of the experiment. 2 eggs, 1 slice of toast, black coffee, same coffee in the same mug, sitting in the same chair, looking out the same window in my kitchen. The financial impact is honestly small, maybe $70 over the month. That is not the point. The point is this: by 8 in the morning, I had not made a single tiring decision. I had not stood in front of the cabinet for 10 minutes. I had not browsed coffee shops in my head. I had a clear head walking into the rest of the day. I extended this without meaning to. I started wearing the same blue sweater 4 days a week. I bought 3 pairs of the same brown pants. My wife laughed at first, and then she said something quietly profound. She said, "You seem calmer," and I was. The part of my brain I had been spending on what to wear and what to eat, when I gave it back, started spending itself on the things that actually mattered. My wife, my kids, the book on the nightstand, phone calls I had been putting off. If you are 50 plus, This rule will sound like the most boring of the 7. I get it. But it is the one that, weeks after the experiment ended, I still keep without thinking. The other 6 built the structure. This one is the quiet hum in the background that makes everything else easier. And then we get to Rule 7, the one that ties the whole thing together, the one I would still recommend even if you ignored everything else. Rule 7, Sunday, money hour, 1 hour a week. Then close the laptop. For most of my adult life, money was a low hum, a constant background worry. 3 in the morning, I would wake up and think about the credit card. In the middle of dinner, I would remember a bill I forgot to pay. Driving home from the store, I would count in my head what I had just spent. Money was always there, always running, always burning a little fuel every hour of every day, whether I wanted it or not. So on day 15, I made a deal with myself. I would think about money 1 hour a week on Sunday morning with a cup of coffee. The other 6.5 days, I would not. I would not check the bank app. I would not look at the credit card statement. I would not refresh the brokerage account. Sunday morning, 1 hour, then closed. Let me tell you what that hour looks like, because the structure matters. Every Sunday morning, I sit at the kitchen table, open my laptop, and do 4 things in this order. 1. Open the 4 account statements I now have and read them. 2. Look at every charge on the credit card from the previous week and confirm I made it. 3. Confirm the automatic transfer to savings landed. 4. Look at next week's calendar for any big expense coming up, like a doctor's bill or a property tax payment, and make sure I have it covered. That is the whole hour. 12 to 20 minutes usually, some weeks 30. Then I close the laptop and money is done for the week. Here is the thing nobody told me about Sunday money hour. The first week, I did not believe it would work. I thought I would be itching by Tuesday to check my balance. By Wednesday, I would cave. The opposite happened. By Tuesday, I had not thought about money once in 3 days. By Friday, I had spent 2 evenings reading on the porch instead of staring at numbers. By the following Sunday, I was almost looking forward to the hour. Like a haircut, like a tune-up on the truck, by the end of 30 days, I had reclaimed something I did not even know I had lost. I had my own mind back 6.5 days a week. The constant low hum of money worry, the one I had been carrying since I was 25, had been replaced by a single hour with a cup of coffee. If you only take one of these 7 rules, take this one. It is the difference between owning your money and being owned by it. So that is the 7. Before you go, let me tell you what those 30 days really gave me. The rules were just the structure. The peace was the building. 30 days later, I sat at my kitchen table on a Sunday morning, just like every other Sunday by then, with a cup of coffee. And I noticed something quiet. I was not tense. I want to be specific, because most of us, when we are tense, we do not even know we are anymore. It is the air we breathe, shoulders tight, jaw clenched without us knowing, chest bracing for the next bill, the next surprise, the next quiet phone call. We have been living in low-grade alarm for so long, we have forgotten what calm feels like. That morning, sitting at my kitchen table, I felt my shoulders go down. I felt my jaw unclench. I felt my chest soften. And I realized that is what these 30 days really gave me. They had not given me wealth. They had given me back the room in my own body that money had quietly taken up for 35 years. My doctor measured my blood pressure 2 weeks after I finished, 12 points lower. He looked up from the cuff and said, "What are you doing different?" I told him. He laughed. He said, "I'll take it. My wife noticed before my doctor did. Somewhere around day 20, she said, you stopped snapping when I asked about the calendar." I did not even know I had been snapping. That is how deep it had gone. My grown kids noticed when they came over for Thanksgiving. My daughter said, "Dad, you look lighter." And I am. 12 points of blood pressure lighter. One Sunday morning a week instead of 7 days of worry. 11 accounts down to 4, 19 subscriptions down to 7. If you have made it this far, I am guessing you are somewhere on the same road I was on. So here is what I want to ask. Pick one of these 7 rules, just one, the one that made you sit up the most while you were watching. Try it for 1 week, not 30 days. 1 week. Then come back and leave a comment telling me which one you picked and what it felt like by Sunday. I read every comment. I will see you in the next one. I am Arthur. This is Common Sense Capital, and remember this: the goal is not more money. The goal is more life with the money you already have.